Why did you get involved in this film?
Why did I get involved? Well, because I was offered the job. You don't turn down work, man. You work cheap, work a lot. That's my motto. Yeah, actually, you know, I was fortunate. I'm proud to be a part of this because it's been a real good experience. These kids are all very talented, you know, and like I said earlier to somebody, they're better than adults. A lot of them, you know, they've got great impulses. And acting is sort of a childlike thing anyway. You know, the best actors, not that they're children or as Truman Capote called them, dumb, but they must have impulses, you know. They must be willing to follow their impulses, you know, in a childlike way, you know, to respond and to listen and to feel and to be sensitized. And these kids all are like that. And so it awakens my, you know, my sleeping, dormant impulses, you know, that I've somehow allowed to somnambulize in adulthood. And it's been good to work with them, you know. And it's been a good experience because John Hughes has allowed us to function, you know, and to participate and to collaborate in the, you know, in the process. I mean, he encourages us and stimulates behavior, you know, and he's very funny, you know. He's got a funny sense of humor, and he's a very good director, I think.
He's interesting because he allows you to be a child too.
Yeah.
I think John's got a lot of child still left inside of him.
Well, he's a sensitive guy. I think, you know, he's a very bright guy. I think I think he knows what he's doing. He has a vision, you know, he has a vision of this film. And he's seeing his vision, you know, materialize. And so when we're having a lot of fun. He's not imposing it on us, but he's helping guide us, helping us fulfill his vision, is the way I see it.
You say he triggers you. How does he help you as a director?
Well, for one thing, he helps you relax, you know, and tension, excuse me, tension is the enemy of the actor, you know, and John helps create a relaxed atmosphere with humor, and because the idea is to not act. You know, the idea is to be loose as you were before the camera was rolling. In other words, the idea is not to be, hey, loosey-goosey, and then the camera rolls and you tense up, you know. The idea is to not even be aware of that camera rolling. I mean, to avoid the tension that robs you and cuts you off of having impulses, you know, from having impulses, and stops you from really feeling and thinking, see. So he creates that kind of an atmosphere, that kind of loose, relaxed atmosphere where trained people are allowed to do their work because they know what they must do, you know. I mean, everybody knows what their obligation is, you know. It's just a way of allowing yourself to do it without being intimidated by the camera, by the idea that people are watching you, you know. So you kind of slide into it, you know, and he helps you slide into it a little bit.
It's really amazing to watch him because he really gets in there and he plays, and he does make it, you know, makes it a really warm, fun, interesting place to be during the day.
Yeah, when we have fun, it's really terrific. I mean, like Toshiro Mifune said in some movie, you know, you have to be happy in your work, and the happier you are, I think, you know, as long as you know what you're doing, the more fun you have, the better the results will be. I think, after all, this is a comedy. I mean, it's a serious film, but it's a serious relationship film, but it's also a comedy. I mean, there's a lot of humor in it, and like I say, these kids work hard and they're prepared, and they are very responsible to their roles, you know. They're very responsible to their characterizations. They're very responsible. They're dedicated.
That was the thing that fascinated me in talking to some of the kids. They're training at such a young age. I mean, they're very, very accomplished in an educational sense. They've spent their time in New York learning. Did you? Well,
they're so young, they haven't had a lot of training. Most of them are just naturally gifted. But they've had some training, you know. I mean, hell, whether they're 16 years old, a couple of them. In this case, for me, I'm playing the antagonist. I'm playing a real hung-up guy, and he doesn't understand. At the end now, supposedly he's supposed to have some sort of a satori, which is a Japanese word for an awakening, a kick in the eye. He's supposed to realize something about the fact that he has let these kids down, and that he hasn't really understood them, you know, and forgotten what it was like to be that age. But for the most part, my character is a guy who antagonizes them and tries to intimidate them, and tries to discipline them and punish them, and does not try to understand them or rehabilitate them. All he's interested in doing, this particular character, is functioning on his own level while not letting these people interfere with what his priorities are, namely peeping on the other teacher in the weight room. You know what I mean? And reading nude magazines. And having his own little dance fantasies by himself in his office.
He's not doing anything, the kids really aren't doing anything that he wouldn't really
That's right. Yeah, he's a hypocrite. This character, I do not like this guy, believe me. I do not like the character as I've arrived at him. As far as what I've arrived at here, I'm not very fond of. Believe me, I would not want to be this way.
Is it tough to play a character you don't like?
Yeah, if you judge him. I'm not, you know. Now we're almost through here, so shooting the film. So you know, it's safe to say these things. I am sort of judging the character now, but in the beginning, I did not judge anything about him. I justified his actions. I justified what he was doing as the right choices, you know. And so it's not so tough. It's not so tough if you're willing to do it. If you're willing not to be censored or disapproved of by other people, because a lot of people think, you know, that's what you are if you play that part, you know. But actually, it's often your values are quite different than those of a character you would play. Are you? Oh, he's rolling.
We're rolling.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing I observed, one thing that occurred to me was I thought to myself, God, I could have never been this good at that age. You know, my trap would have been to want to act. You know, of course, I'm from a different generation. These kids are learning today that they bring what they have personality-wise, and they bring their own humanity to a scene, and that's what they want to see. That's what the director wants to see, and they just roll the camera and capture it, you know, and using the author's words, so to speak. That's simplifying it. But I know in my time, when I was that age, when I was 16 or 18 or 19, and somebody's, you know, of course, I didn't become an actor till I was 25, but at that young age, if somebody had done that, you know, without, you know, said, do this, you know, I would have been a ham. I mean, I would have been a bad actor. I'm sure of it. I mean, I wouldn't have known the value of simplicity like they do, or I wouldn't have known I wouldn't have had the courage to be real and honest. I would have been hiding behind some kind of an artificial character. You know, I would have been going, well, now, you know, teach. What do you got for us? Ho, 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 ho. You know, I mean, I wouldn't have been, you know, artistic enough to really say, well, now, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have brought my own.
Particularly with someone like Molly, as young as Molly is, and she's just.
That's terrific what she does. Yeah, she really leaves herself alone, you know, and she's in touch with herself. So that's what all of us are trying to do as actors. Adults, young, old, elderly. Even the dead actors are still trying to get in touch with themselves. But she does it really great. She really has the courage to leave herself alone. And if nothing's going on, she doesn't force it or fake it. Now, I like that. And Michael Hall's the same way. In fact, they all are. I'm telling you, this is a great group of young actors now. When he found them, he showed great judgment, I felt. You know, and like I say, they're better than most adults. They really are. I'm very proud to be working with them, and I'm just trying to keep up with them. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to hang in there, you know what I mean? Not get too embarrassed. This is a Friedel. This is a beat book from a beat book.
The Beat Road.
The Beat Road. That's from a conference they had up there celebrating Kerouac's.
We're rolling.
Oh, you're rolling.
We're rolling.
Okay, this is called A Ballad of the Breakfast Club. 5 strangers in a lonely room, with nothing in common but common gloom. The mean dean has a mind like a stub. It's another day at the Breakfast Club. A greaser, a jock, and a funny nerd, shooting the ruling fool, a friendly bird. They'd rather get down at the local pub, but they all got stuck at the Breakfast Club. The squirrel and the rich girl who don't speak, bringing up the end of a 6-day week, wishing they were home in a fat hot tub instead of waking up at the Breakfast Club. The boredom and the fear become topless in the womb of a book-lined metropolis, stuck in the slums of a busy hub while the neon hums at the Breakfast Club. Living in prison for one day alone makes a body hate its own skin and bone. Even if they had a magic lamp to rub, there is no escape from the Breakfast Club. Hostile minds come out of hostile times, and the silly penance for silly crimes. Like an angry bear protecting her cub, beware of the danger in the Breakfast Club. Cabin fever makes you want to fight or crawl. They had to chill out to avoid a brawl. The vibes are bad, and so is the grub. There's nothing to eat at the Breakfast Club. They blew off the chains of control in the desperate language of the soul, with a flight through the concrete scrub out of the bowels of the Breakfast Club. The dean was dumb, but not so blind they had to move, and it had to be timed. No dean anywhere was above a flub, and that gave a little hope to the Breakfast Club. Now they're free as a bee and a twister, and closer than brother and sister. They might even start their own little club, but it won't be called the Breakfast Club. With wiser strides out of the diamond light, they march their friendship into the night. Survivors of a battle hymn well dubbed, along with a memory of the Breakfast Club.
That's wonderful.
Very good.
Very
Thank
good.
you.